Hello. For those students who are attending Alef Trust in our postgraduate programs, one of the requirements we have is the submitting of assignments, and there's a two-step process. So in this video, we'll show you a step-by-step, hopefully answering some of the questions that many of our new students have in submitting their assignments. At any time, if you do have questions, even after viewing this video, please feel free to always contact me. I am available to answer any of your questions. So, as you already know, we have a two-step process in submitting any of your assignments, and we go through using Turnitin through the UK brand of it, and then through Sakai. Okay, and Turnitin is an originality checking and plagiarism prevention service that checks your writing for citation mistakes or inappropriate copying. When you submit your paper, Turnitin compares it to text in its massive database of student work, websites, books, and articles. So before any assignment is due for a class you're taking, you will receive an email from Turnitin, and within it is an embedded link that will register you for that course. Once you get that first email, at that point, you can go ahead and log into Turnitin. Do not set up an account ahead of time. So here I'm just going to take you step by step, looking at the screens, and this is the home page for Turnitin. Keep in mind that we use TurnitinUK. 90% of the time, any problems we've run into is a student will default to their main site, which is the Turnitin.com, which is the American portal. We're through TurnitinUK. I suggest you put this in your browser and save it as a favorite, because in that last minute rush in getting your papers in, it seems to be this is the area our students will forget. Now, I just circle here. You would log in here on the upper right-hand side where it's circled, and once you press the link for the login, you would come into the login screen, and we use the email addresses that you registered with us through Alef Trust. If you do have an email change of address, please notify us so we can make the adjustments. We've had times in the past that students change their email address. Do not let us know. And any of the emails generated to register for Turnitin go to the original email address. So once you put in your credentials, this is what the screen will look like. As you know, we're in a partnership with the Professional Development Foundation with Middlesex University. So this would be the screen. And the screen itself may look different depending on which courses you're enrolled in. But once you have the courses you're enrolled in for that time, you press that and you get to this next page, which will show you the assignments and the dates they are due. Now, keep in mind that you'll be registered as each course approaches. So you may be in our system that you're going to take, for instance, in this first year for 4021, that includes the two options assignments and reflective essay. Those would be put up in the spring. So don't worry if you don't see them as yet. Tend to do it 30 to 45, 60 days in advance. So once you get to the individual assignment, this is what it looks like. It tells you when we open it, and the final due date, and the submit button. So once you press the submit button, from there, it takes you to the screen. Again, have your name, submission title. Please keep it to the class name. It's very important when you upload any of your papers, and we'll cover that in the second step with Sakai, that your paper is labeled properly. You may not realize, but a number of people will be seeing your paper, and it helps to keep things organized. In addition to do that final labeling your paper is also good for you because it avoids confusion. We have had instances where a student will upload a partially written paper or one of their trial papers, and they got confused. It's uploaded, and then we're along the process. Sometimes when an instructor is marking your paper, that's incomplete. So just keep that in mind also. But you see down here, it says choose from your computer and just upload the paper, and then it'll go in for submission. Now, when you submit it, you'll get an email back that's going to give you two items we need. One is called the similarity score, and one is the paper ID number, and both these numbers will be placed on a cover sheet. And the color and number for the similarity index is in tiers, and this is based upon the amount of matching text found by the repository comparison. So the possible similarity index percentage ranges are linked to a corresponding color. Or blue, there's no matching. Almost always it should fall within green, which is from one matching word up to 24%, and then it goes upward. This is looking at matching text. If you're getting into the yellows, oranges, and definitely red, it's suggesting that the paper submitted has already been submitted, or in the case when you get in yellows and oranges, it's saying that a significant percentage of the paper submitted is referenced. So that may put into question, that would be the decision of your tutors, that very little original work went into the paper, that a good amount has been referenced. It's not a hard and fast rule. There'll be some papers where it's a little higher because of subject matter. And, with these papers being compared to past papers, especially within transpersonal psychology, yes, you're using many of the same references. So do not worry about it if you get a score of 5%, 10%, 15%. It's not important. It's looking how was the material used in context with your paper. Now, that being said, plagiarism is an issue. The percentages do not show plagiarism per se, because you could have a 1% and that 1% highlighted is plagiarized. And when we mean plagiarized, you have not properly referenced the material. So keep that in mind when you do a natural double check. When you finish your paper, when I used to be doing my papers, I literally would keep two columns open, one which was my reference list that goes at the end, and one in the body text, and make sure line by line, going through that to make sure you haven't forgotten, making sure anything you've referenced in the paper has a matching to the reference list, and vice versa with that. The other I would suggest, and you'll hear this from many people, don't do this on the day that the assignment is due. It always pays to finish your paper, go to bed, sleep, and then the next day, just do your final check. Time and time again, that's when you catch the little errors because your head's clear from getting the assignment done, and you're looking with a fresh pair of eyes. It's pretty hard to properly edit, the final bits of your paper if you've been, typing away for 8 or 10 hours. You're tired. You want to get, through it. So always keep that in mind. Now, another thing to be aware in the submission process with Turnitin, you do not necessarily get your report back immediately. Most days you will within several minutes or 10 minutes. However, Fridays are heavy days for people submitting papers. There may be a time lag. We've had instances of 5 to 12 hours. There was one time 24 hours. So always factor that in when you're doing your assignments. If an assignment is due before midnight, UK time, submitting your assignment at 8 o'clock into Turnitin may not give you a score in time. If there's a lengthy delay, please get in touch with me. Sometimes I can go ahead and check if there's a backlog. And as I said, there are times when there is. So keep that in mind that earlier in the week, you could probably get it through much faster, but please do not wait to the last minute. So first, just a quick recap of what we've covered, that you access it through TurnitinUK and just use the embedded link. You can submit a draft paper. My suggestion is to do it minimally 1 to 2 weeks in advance. Please notify me once you do that, because I need to go in and then delete the paper. Also know it may bump up your score by 1 or 2 percentage points on the final paper. But again, please alert me that you've done it. As we covered, please label your assignments properly. We accept only Word documents. Please do not put PDF or any other files. And it's important that's in a Word document because your tutors will be making inline text comments. And using a PDF or other form does not permit that type of commenting. As I just mentioned a moment ago, do not wait until the last minute. In busy periods, Turnitin can take up to 24 hours for a response. The similarity score and paper ID number will go on your cover sheet. Very important, do not submit the cover sheet with your Turnitin assignment. The cover sheet goes with your assignment before it goes into Sakai. If you put it through Turnitin, and we've had students who do that, it's looked upon as reference copy. It can increase your score anywhere from 1 to 5%. Okay? If you happen to do it, don't worry about it. Let it through. It's not going to set off, any alarms from our side. We're not penalizing you if your similarity score was an 8% and it jumped to 11%. That is not the purpose of Turnitin. It's just looking at how and where you did your reference materials. And then again, always feel free to contact me if you have any questions. On assignment due dates, I do clear my schedule out of all other activities. I am available that day all day long. And for those of you who are in the UK, Europe, Africa, into the Mideast, it could be late in the evening. I'm fully available because it's still afternoon hours for me. So feel free to contact me. And those of you who are in North America, South America, yes, if it's technically you should have had the assignment in by anywhere 6, 7, 8 o'clock earlier in the day to meet the midnight deadline to UK time. But again, I'm here if you have any questions or if you're running into any problems with Turnitin. So now let's look at the cover sheet. You will find this in the assignment section in Sakai for the specific assignment. And this always goes to the front of your paper. And there's several key things that need to be put on here. If it's not properly completed, then your paper will be returned to you. So what we're looking at, the items highlighted in yellow, you will always pull by the assignment as given in Sakai. So you want to put your name. We do need your signature. Okay, typing in a signature does not work. I would suggest beforehand, because you're going to be using this for the whole time you're with us in your coursework, you can take a photo using your phone, just do your signature on a piece of paper, and then just size it up, copy paste it, and you can convert it to a JPEG. If you have any questions, please contact me ahead of submitting your paper. Please don't do it the day of or the day before of that. If we do it in previous days, we have the time to do it. I could work with you on that. And then just save it. Keep it on file because you will be using it for future papers. So you have to do that. As said, follow putting, address, your email address, the current date, the word count, and you always can get the word count if you look on the lower left-hand part when you have it open in Word. We're looking at the body text. Do not include any wording that comes from the references. It is the core essay itself. And then, as we spoke, from the response email you'll be getting on Turnitin, this is where you put the paper ID number and the similarity score. So once this is done, you fill this out, you attach this form, it's about 1 or 2 pages long, to your assignment, and then we go into Sakai. So if you look in Sakai and you see the assignments for each course, then you just press on that link, and this will give you the next 2 screens we have here of what you would need to do, instructions, and for the submission. So, as you see here, it's giving you the date it's open, the due date, how long we accept it. From there, in this case, for this assignment, was 2,500 words. It's reminding you about the cover sheet from there. And then, as we talked about how to submit your assignment, label your documents correctly. Please go to this part of Sakai and follow what's instructed here when you're labeling your papers. This is very important, as I said, because if you recall, it's going to go through a number of people within the Alef Trust, and then when it goes for reviews through PDF Middlesex, you're going to have another group there looking at your paper. So it's very important it's labeled properly, your name and the specific course involved, because it's not just this course being marked. There's periods when we have other courses being marked, especially when we have, in the summertime, we have a number of papers floating around. You do not want to get it lost. And as I brought up previously, it's also a good reminder for you that that's your final copy, that you're not accessing a draft copy. And then once again, it gives you the directions, as we've been covering in this video, of submitting your information to Turnitin, complete the cover sheet, and doing whatever. And then at the bottom, you will see where to submit and then upload your assignment into Sakai. If you have any questions, we're always here to help with you. So with Sakai, you just get a hold of Ellis. Here's her email address if you don't have it already, and her Skype. And then, as I said, with Turnitin, please contact me. And again, if you have any further questions, please contact me at your convenience. Thank you.